The universe of Honkai Star Rail is a wild place. Every world has its own ecosystem, culture, history, and problems. But all of these issues pale in comparison to the overarching battle that we face against the destruction. Because every world we travel to and eventually end up saving is taking one more world away from Nanook and his Lord Ravager's clutches. But what if we take a look at the big picture? Nanook is just one of many Aeons that all do different things and rule over various concepts, and they all seem to have reached a sort of balance. And it has been said many times before that an Aeon's thoughts are above our own. But today I'm going to challenge that. I am going to bring my level of thinking to that of the Aeons. Because in a previous video that you guys really liked, I put forward a massive theory explaining the origin of the universe itself. And at the very end, I said let's leave it at that. But that admittedly was an abrupt ending that makes me want to go further today. So instead of diving into a topic, we are going to ascend to the stars above to gaze straight at the Aeons themselves and witness the true war being fought right over our heads and long out of our reach. Because this is the War Among the Aeons Explained. Also, join my Discord, Nova Impact's Genius Society. We're almost at 1.5 thousand members and I would love to have ya. Oh, and members and boosters get special colors. Okay, so if I started off right where I left off, not much would make sense, so let me get you up to speed if you missed part 1. Basically, I take what Lygus says in Amphorius is the microcosm of the cosmos and apply this logic to the universe itself. And as I did this, I discovered a lot of shocking details that overlap, all of which culminated with the Trailblaze being the world-bearing path that is the source of all paths. Because only the world bearer is sent back in the cycles, and we just learned that Fully can reset the universe with memories after the universe dies. And since they can just do this upon their ascension, we have no clue how many times they have done this, which insinuates that the universe itself is going through cycles. And if that is the case, then we are all stuck in an eternal recurrence trying to stop the universe from ending, which makes sense considering that the Finality sits outside of time just like Lygus does as the Theoros and keeps track of every time the trailblazing world bearer fails, thus resulting in the branching timelines that Terminus is aware of, along with a ton of bad endings. So the purpose of Elio's script is to find a way to avoid all known bad endings and optimally put an end to the cycles by saving the universe. And all of this is corroborated by Noose telling us through Herta that they have met us countless times before, showing that Noose is aware of the cosmic reset, just like Anaxa figured it out with Amphorius. But just like Caslana couldn't escape the cycles, neither can we, because we are not the deliverer. We need someone else to save the world and change everything, which brought me to Welt Yang, because just like us and Dan Heng, Welt showed up with Void Archives, and that is where my brain melted and I had to stop. Is your head spinning yet? Did you get all that? Well, you should have watched the first video because we are going even further today. Because I've been doing some thinking and I realized something. Some Aeons are trying to save the universe and others are actively trying to end it. So I looked up all the paths, noted their rationales, and I ended up with something incredible to say the very least. I ended up with 2 equal Aeon teams of 6, with 5 Aeons that are either inactive or too busy fighting each other or balanced by rule. I wonder which one that is. Team 1 is what I'm going to call Team Origin, and Team 2 is Team Finality. On Team Origin, we have Mythos, Fuli, Akavili, Aha, Noose, and Terminus, and on Team Finality, we have Xipe, Nanook, IX, Ouroboros, Klapoth, and Tazirond. With of course HooH by rule not picking a side and Drilla being both dead and impartial because they themselves even promote catastrophes as long as they are pretty, and Yaoshir and Lan are too busy fighting each other to care about the overarching war for the fate of the cosmos. But let me explain why these 12 Aeons locked in conflict are on the sides they are on. Well, we already know that Xipe, Nanook, and IX are 3 of the 4 paths of Finality, so that much checks out. Xipe wants to basically merge everything into a hive mind, IX is the all-consuming void, and Nanook is, well, Nanook. Tazzy already started a war that nearly ended all life, so that lines up too, but Ouroboros and Klapoth? Well, I mean, Ouroboros ate countless worlds while fighting Tazirond and is called the unsatisfied devourer of worlds, so Yeah, they would eat the whole universe whole if they could. Qlipoth is building a wall purely to keep leviathans like Ouroboros out. But speaking of this Amber Golem, why would this Aeon be on Team Finality, the team trying to end the universe? Well, recently I had my mind blown wide open by a video from IAmEmaMae saying the possibility that Qlipoth is infected by Taseron and their followers are in reality following the propagation. And judging by how the IPC propagates like a cancerous growth and refuses to preserve anything, the possibility becomes more and more plausible the more you think about it. I mean, heck, the entire reason why Aventurine caught the eye of the IPC was because he claimed to know where a fragment of Taseron was. And that is just one shocking detail of many in that video. It's great. Go watch it. But the main hint of concern regarding Qlipoth is the fact that they are said to have extracted the very concept of propagation from Taseron, while encasing them in amber. So not only is Tazi now in the very thing that Qlipoth's body is made up of, but Qlipoth also has a portion of propagation power, because path energy, just like real energy, doesn't go away. It just moves. So who's to say that Qlipoth isn't currently infected by the propagation? Which also explains why the IPC does horrid things, all for their Amber Lord. Which Amber Lord? Qlipoth or the Aeon encased in amber? Typical IPC wordplay if you ask me. So that is why I am putting Qlipoth on Team Finality. They may not actively be trying to end the universe, but they are contributing to it because they're infected by something that is actively trying to end the universe. But what about the good guys? Well, here is where things are gonna get a bit complicated, because unlike Team Finality, where those chaotic forces of disorder fight against each other and crash out every 2 seconds, Team Origin has a sort of strange synergy to them. Let me explain. Because we know that Fuli is the safety net that resets the universe every time it is destroyed, and the Trailblaze is the one traveling endlessly through the cycles trying to find the good ending. But why is Mythos on the team? Well, in my last Honkai Star Rail video, I explained the true purpose of the Enigmata, because this path is far more complicated than spreading misinformation on the internet. This ambitious Aeon is trying in their own way to save the cosmos by fooling Fuli, because memories are a very malleable thing. You can erase them, alter them, or even outright change everything about them. And Mythos uses this aspect of memories to their advantage. And through the history fictionologists, they manipulate history and the memory of history so that in the next cycle, a different outcome can occur. For example, if a little known world were to explode due to the fallout of, I don't know, lawn warping gravity by moving, they can possibly rewrite the past so that in the next cycle that world is spared. So by changing the past, they alter the future and grant new possibilities to worlds that were initially doomed. Because if Fuli resets everything the exact same way every single time, nothing would change and everything would be a lot harder. And if you want an example of that, look at Everknight's influence over the last cycle of the Eternal Recurrence, because it was her that changed everyone's minds to make them believe Ornyx's prophecy instead of Kefali's prophecy, which meant that the Chrysos heirs were already looking forward to seeing us before we even got there. That alone made our journey much less perilous, because otherwise Ceridra might have probably attacked us. That right there is a perfect example of altering history to influence the future. That is the power of the Enigmata on center stage. The Enigmata's small alterations to history gives everyone a shot at either prolonging the universe's downfall or outright avoiding it, which is why Mythos aims to combat Noos's instance, because every instant of Noos is a checkpoint on the way to destruction. So if an instant can be avoided, so can the death of all things. This is the certainty of the erudition that Mythos hates, the certainty of assured destruction. But Nova, you say, Mythos is the enemy of Noos. Why are they on the same team? Well, the thing is that every path actually just needs Noos in one way or another. They are the inspiration of the Matrix of Prescience, a giant receptacle of human knowledge, and the universe's death timer. Because without Noose, we wouldn't know when or how the universe is going to end. By simply dropping hints of what has a high probability of happening, like with Jingliu's Jade Abacus, Noose alerts people to when something terrible is about to happen, whether this is intentional or not. Simply Noose calculating means that the universe's end is uncertain, because Noose is always trying to calculate the precise way the universe will end, but as of right now, they can't, and it needs to stay that way. Because the moment they stop, we know it's checkmate, Nanook just won, and there isn't anything anyone can do about it. Unless Mythos finds a way to deny an instant, which they have tried and failed at. Alright, so Team Origin, put simply, is fully being the reload save button, the Trailblaze is the player of the game, Mythos tries to influence the state of the save file to make the game more winnable, and Noose is the progress bar and timer on the HUD, letting the player know if they have lost or how much time they have left, all while Terminus is keeping track outside of the game of all of the different fail states. So what is HooH doing? Well, looking back at Euphoria, Cypher was the hidden MVP that kept the Dawn device from exploding indefinitely until her death. So following that logic, HooH knows something about the Trailblaze that is keeping this entire path afloat. And we can't know what this secret is yet, or it could be fatal. It could be that the fuel of the Express is a lie, or that Pom Pom is HooH, or something else ridiculous like that, but we know for a fact that HooH wants the universe to continue existing. Because 1, they fought Taseronth, and 2, if everything is destroyed, there is nothing left to laugh at. HooH's entire path is geared around enjoying that which is fleeting, but when the void actually arrives, Elation's time is up. So, needless to say, they want this uncertain struggle for survival to continue forever. Probably also because fighting against an inevitable fate is hilarious to them. So those are the two teams and how they work. Team Finality is locked in combat with Team Origin for the fate of the cosmos. And though they are doing this rather indirectly at the moment, they clashed head-on in Euphorius, and just like the Remembrance, minus the corrupt rebel Memo Snatcher faction, sided with the Erudition in the end, and they also will in the 6-on-6 Aeon War. Because in the fated day foretold by Kafka, we will face off with Nanook, the Trailblaze, the world-bearing path, will fight destruction, just like the world bear Castellana broke out of Iron Tomb to strike at Nanook. But he failed. And we have probably also failed in previous cycles. But to be honest, Kafka says in the best and worst possible outcomes, we face Nanook. But this time, we gotta deliver who isn't from this world in a faction of Aeons that just may all fall to give us a shot at saving everything. There is an underlying war underway to determine the fate of all things. And the Aeons are in fact thinking above everyone else, because it is possible that we are in the final phase where all of the Chrysosairs knew that the reset existed and played their parts, sacrificing themselves in turn, all for the hope for a better tomorrow in the next cycle. Only this time, the Theoros, aka Terminus, is using their knowledge for good instead of evil, allowing us to narrowly avoid every hidden pitfall and progress past every known fail state, blissfully unaware of the countless times we have already failed. And while the Aeons of Team Origin and Finality are currently pushing against each other through their followers, there may come a day where this proxy warfare ends and things escalate into direct warfare. And we've best prepare before it all comes to a head. Because this is the War Among the Aeons Explained. Is your head spinning yet? Things are getting wild now. Now we have theories that branch off of other theories and proof stacked all over the place, and out of nowhere the entire universe is waging an indirect war that will only escalate over time. Man, Euphorius just changed everything for this lore in this game, and with the live stream right around the corner, at the time of writing this script, the story could go anywhere, especially with Dahlia. I already made a video on her potential, hopefully it aged well. Next video will be on her for sure, cause they are definitely gonna drop some stuff on her that we are going to have to talk about. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, Nanook may not actually want to destroy the universe, or they are being held back in some way. Because looking at how strong their emanators are, Nanook should have won already. Little food for thought teaser for another day's video. I always got stuff cooked up for you guys because you know for a fact that if you're looking for lore, then I got you right here. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.